I'm continuing my top 10 fights for the main characters of Dragon Ball Z with Vegeta. The rules are the same as before. With each ranking, I'm going to explain why it earned its place, what I like about it and what I don't like about it, as to illustrate the thought process behind placing certain fights ahead of others. Let's begin. Number 10, Majin Vegeta vs. Goku. While in Babidi's ship, Vegeta finds himself possessed by the wizard and given a power-up. When Vegeta, Goku, Shin, and Gohan return to the World Tournament setting, Vegeta challenges Goku to a fight with the stipulation that it will prevent him from killing people. This results in Vegeta and Goku's second fight. There are two things holding this fight back from a higher position. One is because the version of this fight most people saw, the one from the show, is a mostly filler creation from the show. The manga version is a couple of panels which, while nice, do not illustrate the intensity of this fight in the way the show's version does. The second reason is because this fight's intensity is hinged on the idea that the Majin Vegeta form allows Vegeta to keep up to Goku. This is completely undercut by the later revelation that Goku could have gone Super Saiyan 3 during this fight, making it seem less like a dire battle and more like Goku just wanting to drag things out while he swore platitudes about the impending doom of their friends and family if Majin Buu was awakened. Number 9, Vegeta vs. Zarbon. After being defeated by Zarbon, Vegeta is taken to Frieza's ship so that he can be healed before questioning. However, Vegeta escapes and is confronted by Zarbon, who he defeats even after the latter transforms due to Vegeta's Zenkai boost. The scenes of Vegeta having his head grabbed by Zarbon as he leans into Zarbon's chest before killing him is one of my favorite scenes in the entire Frieza saga for demonstrating Vegeta's ruthlessness. One of the things missing from later Vegeta fights, especially the ones after the Frieza saga, is a sense of progression. Oftentimes when he loses, it's usually to highlight the power of an antagonist who is defeated by another character. Here we see Vegeta get dominated only for him to come back and get his revenge by winning in his second encounter with Zarbon. The only thing holding back this fight is that most of the other characters in this list have higher purposes to the narrative than Zarbon, and thus their battle against Vegeta carries more weight. Number 8, the first Vegeta vs. Goku Black fight. Dragon Ball Super episode 56 is my favorite episode of that show, and my favorite main villain from that series is Goku Black. The ending of this fight, which depicts Black stabbing Vegeta, is one of the most memorable images to me from Super, and a plot swerve that is not contrived because it was foreshadowed before the fight even began, when Black was unintimidated by Vegeta after the latter transformed into a Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan. The ending also left the show on one of its best cliffhangers, with Black being stopped from fighting further by an arriving Zamasu, who at the time, we as the audience are not sure if it's a future counterpart to the Zamasu we were already introduced to, or the main timeline version of the character. Number 7, Vegeta vs. Cabba. During the Universe 7 vs. Universe 6 tournament, Vegeta is matched against a young Saiyan named Cabba. During this fight, Cabba reveals he cannot transform into a Super Saiyan and asks Vegeta to show him. After Vegeta threatens his family and planet, Cabba transforms into a Super Saiyan, Vegeta revealing afterward that he only made the threats to motivate Cabba into transforming, and easily defeating Cabba after showing Cabba his Super Saiyan Blue form. I could probably write a 20-minute video lauding this fight. I love every single thing about it. The characters involved, the angles, the characterization that it grants Cabba in just one episode, and the way it contrasts him with Vegeta, but also shows his similarity with him in that both of them are fueled by wanting to protect others and acquiring further levels of power. The only thing keeping this fight back is that it means very little in the grand scheme of Super, thanks to the incompetence of its writers. Toward the end of this fight, we're given the possibility of Cabba being trained by Vegeta, or getting some role beyond the Universe 6 tournament, and Vegeta even traveling to his planet, and nothing comes out of it outside of two interactions between the pair in the Tournament of Power. This isn't a case of me hating Super because they did something stupid. This is me hating Super because they made a great fight that set up potential storylines and almost completely did nothing with it. Number 6, Vegeta versus Android 19. When androids 19 and 20 were introduced, they were menacing in both their demeanor and activities, which included defeating Yamcha and being able to compete with Super Saiyan Goku, a form that had given him complete dominance over Frieza. When Goku was stricken with the heart virus, Android 19 was able to capitalize on this and was killing Goku before Vegeta arrived. Vegeta unveils his Super Saiyan transformation and easily defeats and destroys Android 19. The fight is very cathartic, as it's the first time we see an android defeated, and we specifically see Android 19 reduced to a helpless state similar to the one Goku was in while dying from the virus and being attacked in his weakened state. One of the things that retroactively made this fight more appealing for me is that it's really the only time Vegeta as a protagonist has a fair fight against a major villain that no one else can beat and actually gets to save the day. There's no twist, no smoke and mirrors. Vegeta just shows up, brags about his new strength, and wins. That's it. The only takeaway from this fight is it is very one-sided, and the Super Saiyan transformation for Vegeta comes out of nowhere. The show tried to explain it with the flashback, but the manga just has Vegeta explain it as him having a pure evil heart, as it's given to Vegeta more for shock value and to quickly write out Android 19. Number 5, Vegeta versus Jace. After Captain Ginyu begins his fight with Gohan and Krillin, Ginyu requests for Jace to back him up, Vegeta preventing him from doing this and engaging Jace in a fight that ends with the latter's death. One of the things I like about this fight is how unique it is in the narrative. Most of the time when a main character is fighting, we usually are treated to scenes of other characters doing something else that doesn't involve fighting or giving commentary over the fight. This fight is unlike many others in taking place concurrently with Ginyu versus Gohan, Goku, and Krillin. It continues the pattern on Namek set by the Vegeta versus Zarbon fight of Vegeta losing to an opponent and then coming back to defeat that same character. Although here it is different in that Vegeta and Jace did not fight before this, but rather it was confirmed by Vegeta that he was weaker than Jace was when the latter arrived on Namek with the Ginyu Force. The only downside about this fight is that the character Vegeta fights here, Jace, is the least significant of his opponents in the top 5 fights on this list. Number 4, Vegeta versus Android 18. After Android 17 and 18 activate Android 16 and leave the ruins of Dr. Giro's lab, Vegeta follows them and challenges them to a fight. He battles Android 18 and is defeated, having his arm broken in the process. The reason I like this fight is that it shows the infinite energy of 17 and 18 without even having 17 fight until the Z Fighters try intervening, and it's the first confirmation that being a Super Saiyan isn't enough to deal with the current threat. In doing so, it adds tension to the story and begins Vegeta's journey of trying to acquire higher levels of power through additional Super Saiyan transformations. The only thing holding it back is that I don't believe it's as effective on the story as the top 3 are, which is less a problem of the fight and more just it being in competition with battles that have a higher level of ramifications on the story. Number 3, Vegeta versus Final Form Frieza. Throughout the entire Frieza saga, we as the audience were treated to 2 forms of foreshadowing, with Frieza being hyped as the ultimate threat and Vegeta's recurring mentions of the power of a Super Saiyan. After Vegeta is healed by Dende, while Frieza is undergoing his transformation into his last form, the latter kills Dende to stop Vegeta, Gohan, Krillin, and Piccolo from being able to be healed. Vegeta engages Frieza in a one-on-one fight that ends with him laying on the ground near death and only not being finished off because of Goku's arrival. There are a lot of Vegeta fans that don't like watching him get defeated, and this is something I understand. But one of the reasons this fight resonates with me more than most of his battles is because he spends much of the Frieza saga talking about the power of a Super Saiyan, and in this fight, not only cannot summon the strength to defeat Frieza, but realizes toward the end of it that he likely won't reach it afterward due to Dende's death, and him thereby not being able to be healed from the point of near death to quickly gather enough Zenkai boost to raise his strength higher. Between Gohan, Piccolo, and Krillin standing helpless to assist Vegeta against Frieza, it adds a level of peril that only gets slightly diminished when Goku shows up. It is the darkest hour of the Frieza saga. Number 2, Majin Vegeta versus Fat Buu. After knocking out Goku, Vegeta confronts Majin Buu and Babidi, being mostly outclassed. At the end of the fight, he sacrifices himself by self-destructing and blows Buu to pieces. One of my favorite parts of the fight is when Vegeta blows a hole through Buu's chest, and he reacts with pain, indicating that it was possible for Vegeta to win fairly, even though he was at a disadvantage. Anytime Buu fights, there's always a variety of things to see, and this includes instances of Buu using his body to either attack Vegeta or pin him down. When you add visuals like this with a character arc coming full circle, it's almost perfect. Speaking of perfect, who could forget the ending where Vegeta, despite being told by Piccolo that he will not be treated as a hero in the afterlife due to his misdeeds, kills himself in an attempt to take Buu with him. This is the near complete conclusion of his character arc. From the ruthless, selfish man that invaded Earth in the Saiyan saga to the remorseful, empathetic warrior willing to pay the ultimate price to keep that planet safe. There are 2 reasons this fight is not number 1. The first is that outside of being a very, very great character moment for Vegeta, the only thing that actually comes out of it plot-wise is removing him from the arc for a large portion of it. The other is that in spite of how much I like it, it's nowhere near as iconic as number 1. Number 1, Vegeta versus Goku. I don't want to retread the things I said about this fight during the top 10 Goku fights video, so I'll focus on it from the perspective of what it does for Vegeta's character. From the time Vegeta is introduced to this fight, we really aren't made aware of his personality. We know that Nappa is afraid of him and that Vegeta was someone who had a temper, but we never see much of what makes him tick until this battle where it's revealed that he has a superiority complex as the Prince of All Saiyans. It's a very tension-filled fight as Goku's Kaioken gives him a limited amount of time to attack Vegeta with his strength before it destroys his body. And it also features several plot swerves, including Vegeta's Great Ape form and Gohan, Krillin, and Yajirobe having to save the day. It really is the last major Dragon Ball battle against the main villain, where a cast of characters that were weaker than the villain were able to fight back and successfully repel the threat. All in all, the fight is very memorable for its build-up, contents, and ending. But that does it for the top 10 Vegeta fights. I hope you enjoyed the list, and I look forward to releasing the top 10 Gohan fights soon.